Assalamu alaikum. Hi, Alay marhabish, and welcome to my podcast. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. I'm super excited to finally start this podcast journey with you. And what better way to start than by sharing one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, my study abroad experience in Canada. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very long episode because I love to share details. So grab a coffee, a matcha or a tea, and if you're feeling Canadian today, a hot chocolate from Timmy's. If you know, you know, and enjoy this episode. Yalla, let's get started. So during the third year of my studies, this was 10 years ago, wow, I had to study a semester abroad. So we had to make a top 3, and mine was 1, the University of Ottawa, 2, the University of Liverpool, and 3, the University of Avignon. So I really want to go to Canada because my mom lived in Montreal and Toronto, and my sister still lives in Toronto. Hi Naima! They always used to talk about how cool Canada is, and it really made me curious. So the day I got selected to study in Canada, I was super happy, but also very nervous. So in August 2014, my sister and I both traveled to Canada on the same day. So I took a plane to Montreal and my sister took a plane to Toronto. Imagine how emotional our mom was. She had to say goodbye twice. Anyway, I was also having a very hard time leaving my parents and my siblings. I just couldn't stop crying. I remember I was walking to the gate and I was not even aware of my surroundings. I was just crying. And a security guard came to me and asked me if I was okay. I replied, I miss my family. And I started to cry again. I cannot even remember what he told me. But anyway, I was also sitting next to a kid. And after 2 hours, he asked me if I was okay. And he also asked me, like, why are you crying? And then I replied, I miss my family. And then he explained that one of his parents lived in Ukraine and one of his parents lived in Canada. He said like, yeah, I also miss my family, but I'm not crying. And I stopped crying because I felt embarrassed. It was the first time traveling alone and to the other side of the world, so I was just overwhelmed. Anyway, I landed in Montreal and everyone was super friendly and super welcoming. I took the bus, the KLM bus from Montreal to Ottawa, and my auntie and cousin picked me up from the station. They brought me to their home and this was going to be my new home for the upcoming 5 months. So the first few weeks I felt very lonely most of the times and I didn't really have a social life. I did sign up for a buddy program. I will tell you more about this later on. Yeah, but I was really overwhelmed. So the educational system in Canada was really different from, the system in the Netherlands. For example, during my studies in the Netherlands, I always had the same classmates. And in Canada, I just chose my own courses. And I was sitting in a big classroom with almost like 100 people. And I just went to class and then I took notes, I focused, and I went home and did my homework. So during this time, I really missed the Netherlands. And to add more drama to the story, I remember I was sitting in the bus and I saw the word gezellig above a restaurant and I was like, are you kidding me? It means cozy in Dutch and I got even more homesick. I think it was like a restaurant or something. Yeah, I was like so homesick. I missed the Albertine, our famous grocery store, because when I went to the canteen I couldn't find een broodje gezond for the Dutchies. Like, I miss Dutch cheese. I really miss Dutch cheese and Dutch bread, guys. I miss pindakaas and I miss my family and friends. I was so homesick. I was really homesick. So I kept going to my classes, which I really enjoyed because I took very interesting courses and my professors were also very good and I was learning a lot. And one day I was sitting next to a very nice and friendly girl. If I remember it correctly, her name was Maryam and she told me that she liked my bracelet. So back in the days I was not wearing the hijab, but alhamdulillah, Allah hadani. But I was wearing a bracelet with the shahada on it. So after class, she asked me if I wanted to join her to the prayer room. I thought, prayer room? This uni has a prayer room? Mind you, my home university did not even have a silence room. People were praying under a staircase. So I was positively surprised. I was like, wow, Allahumma barak. Wow. It felt so nice to pray together with my fellow Muslim sisters. And I saw a lot of girls that looked like me, because the population in Canada is very different from the population in the Netherlands. I started to feel more and more at home. I was still homesick. I was still feeling lonely, but I was starting to feel more and more at home. I started to visit the prayer room more often. So before my classes and after my classes, at the prayer room there was like a small community, like people knew each other. And yeah, obviously I was the new girl, I guess. So I was having like conversations with people, and they asked me like, oh, are you studying here and where are you from? The moment I tell them that I speak Dutch, they're like, yes, Deutschland, you speak Dutch, so you're from Deutschland. And I was like, no, Deutschland means Germany in German. Okay, in the Netherlands we speak Dutch, the capital. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, Amsterdam is not a country. People were thinking that Amsterdam was a country, but we're not gonna talk about North American geography knowledge, guys. We're not gonna roast anyone. I'm just joking, love you guys. But anyway, so that was interesting. So they were like, okay, so you speak Dutch. You're not from Deutschland, but you speak Dutch, so Deutschland. So that was actually my nickname, Deutschland. So I did have some conversations at the prayer room, but still I was not like really hanging out with people. So yeah, I was still feeling lonely. I'm not gonna lie about it. But one day it all completely changed. So I was a member of a Facebook group for international students, Gen Z. You will never understand this. Yes, I'm from the Facebook generation, okay? Anyway, a Muslim brother sent me a private message because he was helping students to get housing, but I did not need that because I was living with my auntie. So he asked me if I wanted to get to know other Muslim sisters because he was also an international student, and when he came to Canada, he was also searching for fellow Muslim friends. So he sent me a profile of Jihan. Jihan was also an international student from Norway. And yeah, I sent her a message on Facebook and she invited me to a sisters event. Jihan and I came a bit later, and when we entered the place, everyone was sitting in a very big circle, and I was like, no, I don't want to do a round of introductions. And they were doing a round of introductions, and I thought, oh no, now they will hear that I'm not from here. So it was my turn, and I said, hi, my name's Yasmin, and I'm from the Netherlands, as you can hear. Ha 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 ha. Cringe. And everyone started to laugh. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, the girls came up to me after the round of introductions, and yeah, they talked to me and we added each other on Instagram. So back in the days, there was no DM. Yeah, people in Canada were not really using WhatsApp back in the days. We were like texting and sending messages on Facebook. So we added each other, and these were the same girls, the girls that made my time in Canada amazing. So I started to see the girls more and more often. We celebrated each other's birthdays together. We went to other events together. For example, one of my friends organized a bake sale for Yemen. And yeah, I also met other girls at that event. And it was super, super fun. We also went to Cacao 70. They have the best hot chocolate and desserts, guys. It was -23, guys. So in the beginning of my voice note, I said that I was crying because I missed my family and I felt lonely. Well, now I was crying because it was so cold. So yeah, I've never ever experienced such cold, guys. I was like, now I understand my mom's stories about Canadian winters, because when we were complaining about the weather in the Netherlands, like, oh, it's so cold, she said like, you don't know anything about cold. Anyway, so a hot chocolate from Cacao 70 is just amazing when it's minus 23. Despite the cold, I still had to integrate. The girls introduced me to poutine. Poutine is like a Canadian dish. So it's originally from Quebec, so the French part of Canada. And it's made of French fries with cheese and gravy. So like cheese curds and gravy. To be honest, I didn't really like it. But if you go to Canada, I really think you have to try it. So yeah, I was so thankful for my new friend group. We prayed together at the prayer room, and we also attended different lectures about Islam at the university. It felt really nice to be surrounded by practicing sisters. It was so nice to motivate each other to pray on time. I was amazed about how big the prayer room was, and at that time they were also trying to create another prayer room. Allahumma barik. It was so amazing. I started to feel more at home. Alhamdulillah. Also, I started to hang out more often with my buddy, Erika. So before I came to Canada, I signed up for a buddy program. So the aim of the program was to connect international and exchange students to local students. So we did some typical Canadian things. We tried beaver tails. Beaver tail is like a fried dough pastry shaped like a beaver's tail, and you can put like different topics on it. So I tried the one with Nutella and powdered sugar. It was so amazing. If you go to Ottawa, you really have to try it. I don't know if they sell it in other cities, but they definitely have it in Ottawa. Also, of course, we had to go to an ice hockey game. El Clasico. The Ottawa Senators versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Together with another Dutch international student, Erika and I decided to, go to an ice hockey game. So when I went to Canada, I actually had my own blog. I deleted it. I'm so sorry. And I really regret it. I was like writing about my time in Canada, and I needed photos for my blog. So we asked a steward if he could take a photo of us, and he offered us like better seats because it was our first time in Canada and it was our first time visiting a hockey stadium. Super sweet. Canadians are really nice. Unfortunately, Ottawa lost, but it was so much fun. I really enjoyed ice hockey. And I remember that the ice hockey tune was stuck in my head for the rest of my time in Canada. Dun 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 dun. Annoying but funny. So I was enjoying my time in Canada and having the best time of my life, alhamdulillah. The moment I was finally feeling at home, it was almost time to leave. So after exam week, the girls and I planned to have a girls' night together because I was traveling to Montreal and to Toronto to visit my sister. Yeah, so that was like the last time that we would be able to see each other. So I went to my friend's home, to Asma's home, and I only saw 3 other girls. I was a bit sad, I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't say goodbye to the other girls. And then suddenly, someone opened the door and 7 other girls ran towards me and screamed, "Surprise!" in Dutch. It sounded German, I ain't gonna lie. It was so funny. I got so emotional and I was so overwhelmed and also super happy because literally all my friends were there. So we were like having a pajama party, we were like eating, and then it was time to order dinner. And I will never ever forget this. So the girls said like, "Oh Yasmin, do you want to order pizza?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So they said like, "Oh, what kind of pizza do you want?" So I said like, "Yeah, tuna pizza." And they all looked at me and said, "You're joking, right?" And I was like, "No, I always eat tuna pizza." So I didn't know that in Canada no one eats tuna pizza. So my nickname was Dutchland, and then it suddenly turned into tuna. One of my friends, Hudden, she still calls me Tuna. Hi Hudden, if you're listening. We had so much fun, and yeah, it was time to say goodbye. And I was really going to miss the girls. So it was like the first time in my life that I had like a friend group consisting of girls with like the same or almost the same ethnicity as mine. Don't get me wrong, I love to have friends from different countries. I love to learn about their cultures. But having friends with the same ethnicity is so much fun. So it was like the first time in my life that I had friends that spoke the same languages as me. I even have friends that were like almost the same mix, like Djiboutian Yemeni or Yemeni Ethiopian. I even remember I had friends, Iman. Everyone thought that we were sisters. It was so funny. Or they thought that we were cousins. Even my mom was shocked. My mom said like, whoa, you guys really look like each other. So it was so funny. Anyway, after my goodbye party, I traveled to Montreal and Toronto. So I visited my buddy Erika in Montreal and I stayed at her place. Her family was super nice. So we visited downtown Montreal. So we went to the city center and we also went to the Royal Mountain and we saw like a very beautiful view of the city. Also, we went to a maple syrup museum and we tried different types of maple syrup. Maple syrup is so nice. It's better than Dutch stroop. I like Dutch stroop too, but Canadian maple syrup is just different. So after I visited Montreal, I went to Toronto to visit my sister. So we shopped in different shopping malls. We went to the CN Tower because I love visiting towers. It was so much fun. And we also booked a day to the Niagara Falls. It was so beautiful, guys. SubhanAllah, it was super nice. Yeah, it was so beautiful. I also met my sister's best friend. So I always heard like stories about her. So it was nice to finally meet her. So we had lunch at a Lebanese restaurant. It was so good. I forgot the name, but the food was so amazing. I had such a nice time and so much fun with my sister in Toronto. Yeah, Naima, I hope that you also had a nice time. And hopefully I will see you inshallah very soon because I miss you. So I learned a lot from my time in Canada. I learned how to step out of my comfort zone. I learned to be more independent. If you have the chance to do an internship abroad or to study abroad, I really advise you to do it. It's such an amazing experience. Studying abroad has a lot of benefits. It is a great addition to your CV. It can help to improve your language skills. For example, if you go to Canada, you can improve your English or your French. It can help you to get out of your comfort zone. It can make you more independent and you will have such great memories and maybe even friends for life. I also made some amazing friends in Canada and I still keep in touch with these girls, especially Hoden and Maram. Hi girls. I also want to thank the other girls for the amazing time in Canada. I had so much fun. You guys really made me feel at home. I've never told you this, but you guys, I don't want to cry. This whole podcast I'm just talking about crying, but you guys also brought me closer to my dean and I will be forever thankful. Yeah, love you guys. And I hope I will see you guys soon in Canada. But you guys are also welcome in Dutchland. You can speak German in the Netherlands. I'm joking. Anyway, this was my first episode. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to rate my podcast. 5 stars, please. And I will send you guys another voice note very soon, inshallah. Bye bye. مع السلامة.